Americans are paying $40, $60, even $80 for Cica creams to calm aging, irritated skin. But Cica isn't a luxury lab invention. It comes from Centella Asiatica, a small creeping herb you can grow in a pot. You'll see the same promises at Target, Ulta, Sephora, and Costco. Collagen, repair, anti-aging, barrier support. But here's the strange part. One bottle runs out. This plant can grow back. So before buying another cream, let's look at the $80 ingredient hiding in plain sight. Section 1. The $80 ingredient hiding in plain sight now. You've probably already seen this ingredient without realizing it. Scroll through Amazon Skincare, walk into Sephora, Ulta, Target, or the Korean skincare aisle, and you'll see words like Cica Repair, Cica Cream, Barrier Recovery, and Calming Serum. It sounds advanced, almost like a lab-created skin technology. But here's the surprising part. Cica is just the skincare nickname for Centella Asiatica. In the herbal world, many people know it as Gotu, Kola. Research has connected Centella compounds with skin barrier support, wound healing, inflammation control, and collagen-related activity. But unlike a cream that runs out, this is a living plant. It spreads by runners, grows in a pot, and can be harvested again and again. A Cica cream might cost $40 to $80. A small Gotu Kola plant can cost less than lunch. So before you buy another bottle, check your labels. Then search for Gotu Kola live plant. Section 2. Why Americans don't recognize the plant. And honestly, this is one reason Americans miss it. We're used to ingredients having one clean name. Retinol is retinol. Vitamin C is vitamin C. Hyaluronic acid, niacinamide. You see the name once, and it becomes a whole category in your mind. But Centella didn't get that kind of simple identity. In skincare, it's called Cica. In herb shops, it's Gotu Kola. In science, it's Centella Asiatica. In old stories, it's tiger grass. In India, it may be called Brahmi. In China, Jishuekao. In Thailand, Bua Bok. So the plant wasn't exactly hidden. It was renamed so many times that nobody in America built one clear picture of it. And here's the thing. In skincare, language shapes trust. One clear name becomes famous. 10 scattered names become confusion. That confusion makes it easier to sell you the extract without you recognizing the source. You think you're buying a special Cica formula, when the original source is a creeping herb you might be able to grow in a pot. So if you ever want the real plant, don't search for Cica cream. Search for Gotu Kola live plant or Centella Asiatica plant. Section 3. Asia used the leaf before beauty brands sold the extract. And what most people don't realize is, Asia was using this leaf long before beauty brands turned it into an ingredient. In Thailand, you can find it as a green herbal drink, cold and slightly bitter, sold like something normal people actually drink. In Sri Lanka, it shows up in Collagen, a green breakfast porridge families have eaten for generations. In India, it has a long place in Ayurveda. In China, it belongs to traditional herbal medicine. And in Korea, it eventually became one of the biggest calming ingredients in K-beauty. But here's the twist. In many of these places, this wasn't luxury skincare. It was just a normal plant people used. And honestly, when the same plant shows up in food, medicine, and beauty across multiple cultures, it deserves more attention than a passing TikTok trend. In America, we often take a plant, put it into a capsule, bottle it, brand it, and sell it at Whole Foods for $29.99. But in many Asian households, the plant came first. That's the advantage of Centella. It's edible, medicinal, connected to skincare, and still simple enough to grow in a container on a patio. You don't have to copy every traditional use. Start small. A few leaves in tea, a little in a smoothie, or one pot in your living wellness garden. And this is where it gets interesting, because the old uses start to make sense when you look at what's inside the leaf. Section 4. What Centella actually does for skin now. This is the part that makes Centella more than just a pretty green ingredient on a label. If you've dealt with aging skin, redness, dryness, sensitivity, post-acne marks, or that damaged skin barrier feeling where everything burns when you put it on your face, Centella starts to make sense. because it's not just calming in a vague marketing way. Its compounds appear to interact with the skin's repair systems. Centella contains compounds like asiaticoside, madecassoside, asiatic acid, and madecassic acid, which are studied for wound healing, inflammation, skin barrier support, and collagen-related activity. Now, I'm not saying this is a miracle cure. That's not the point. The point is that this one plant sits at the intersection of repair, calming, resilience, and aging support. And most Americans buy those benefits separately. One product for redness, one for dryness, one for barrier repair, one for anti-aging. But traditional cultures were using the plant itself long before modern packaging gave each benefit its own bottle. So, no, don't throw away your whole routine. But you can use Centella as a tea, a simple herb, or a gentle DIY topical experiment. Just patch test first, because natural does not automatically mean your skin will love it. Section 5. The retinol contrast. It works, but at a cost. And this is where the retinol comparison gets interesting. Retinol is everywhere in America. Dermatologists recommend it. You see it at Target, CVS, Sephora, Amazon. Every anti-aging shelf has some version of it. And to be fair, retinol works. We don't need to pretend it doesn't. But here's the thing. A lot of people pay for those results with irritation. Retinoids are well known for anti-aging benefits, but dryness, peeling, redness, and sun sensitivity are common reasons people struggle with them. You buy the retinol, then you buy the barrier cream, then the gentle cleanser, then the recovery serum, and suddenly your simple routine is 5 bottles deep. Honestly, sometimes it feels like the industry sells you the irritation in the solution. Centella has the opposite energy. Retinol pushes. Centella supports. Retinol can be aggressive. Centella is known for calming, repairing, and helping the skin barrier feel stronger. That's why it fits so perfectly into K-beauty, where the focus is often calm, repair, and long-term skin health. So think of Centella as a plant for a calming skincare garden. Not a reckless replacement, but something worth learning from. But the money part is where this story gets even more frustrating. Section 6. The money reframe. One bottle runs out. One plant grows back. But here's where the story really changes. You might spend $100 on Costco collagen powder, a Sephora serum, an Cica cream, or a couple of Whole Foods supplements without thinking twice. And then next month, or 3 months later, you do it again. That's how product-based wellness works. It depends on you running out. But Centella is different because the source is alive. You could take that same $100, walk into Home Depot, Lowe's, or a local garden center, and buy pots, potting mix, a watering can, and start a small patio herb garden. Maybe the live Centella plant comes from an online herb nursery, but the whole setup is still simple. And once that plant is happy, it spreads. It sends out runners. You can harvest it, divide it, move it into another pot, or share it with someone else. A bottle runs out. A plant grows back. In many cultures, Centella didn't begin as a luxury product. It was something people could pick, brew, eat, crush, and share. Modern wellness is only now packaging the idea of a renewable ingredient. And honestly, that makes a little pot on a shaded patio, apartment balcony, kitchen windowsill, or backyard container feel a lot more powerful than another subscription. Section 7. Can you actually grow it in the United States? Now, the obvious question is, okay, but can I actually grow this where I live? And the answer is yes, but you have to treat it like the plant it is. Centella does not want to live like rosemary or lavender. It does not want dry soil, blazing afternoon sun, and neglect. Centella naturally prefers moist soil and partial shade, more like the edge of a stream than a dry Mediterranean herb bed. So you don't need a tropical farm. You need moisture, gentle light, and a container. Even if Home Depot or Lowe's doesn't carry the live plant, they carry almost everything else you need. Potting mix, shallow containers, trays, and watering tools. For the actual plant, search for Gotu Kola live plant or Centella Asiatica plant from a local nursery Asian herb nursery, farmer's market herb vendor, or online herb supplier. If you live in Florida, the Gulf Coast, or parts of Southern California, you may be able to grow it outdoors more easily. In the Midwest or Northeast, grow it in a container and bring it inside when the cold comes. In Texas or Arizona, give it shade and protect it from harsh afternoon sun. The most affordable ingredient is the one you can keep alive. And once it's happy, the plant starts doing something that makes skincare bottles look almost ridiculous. Section 8. The week-by-week payoff. And when Centella starts growing, you understand why this plant feels so different from a bottle. In week 1, it may not look dramatic. Just a few round, scalloped leaves sitting low in the soil, almost like tiny green lily pads. But give it moisture, gentle light, and a little patience. By week 4, you may see runners stretching across the surface of the pot. By week 8, that empty soil starts filling in. And by week 12, if the plant is healthy, you may be snipping leaves regularly without destroying the plant. That's the twist. This is not something you harvest once and throw away. It becomes a small living patch. Every new runner is a tiny reminder that this is not a subscription. It is propagation. And honestly, that changes the feeling completely. The same plant connected to Thai herbal drinks, Sri Lankan breakfasts, Korean Cica creams, and old herbal traditions is now sitting on your shaded patio balcony or kitchen windowsill. The science is no longer trapped inside a bottle. It is in a leaf you can actually see, touch, harvest, and even share with a friend. But growing it is only half the story. The next question is how a normal American household would actually use it. Section 9. How to use it without making it weird now. If you're hearing this and thinking, wait, am I supposed to crush leaves and put them on my face? Honestly, you don't have to make it weird. You don't need to completely change your lifestyle. You can use Centella like a simple herb. Traditionally, Centella has been used both internally as food or tea and externally in skin preparations. So in a normal American kitchen, that might mean a few leaves steeped into tea, blended into a smoothie, stirred into herbal water with lemon and honey, or chopped lightly into a rice bowl, soup, or small salad. For skin, you keep it simple and careful. Some people make a fresh leaf paste. Some brew a strong tea and use it like a toner. Others blend it with aloe or infuse it into oil. But here's the important part. Start small. Patch test first. Don't put it on deep wounds. Don't treat it like a miracle cure. And if your skin is sensitive, go even slower. Instead of buying a new calming product every time your skin gets irritated, you start back thinking like a grower. What can I harvest, test carefully, and use simply? And that brings us to the real point of this whole story. Section 10. The real secret is not the plant, it's the shift in control. And honestly, this is the real secret. It's not that Asia hid Centella. Asia was using it openly, in food, tea, skincare, herbal medicine, and daily life. The real secret is that Americans were taught to look for the product before looking for the plant. We look for the bottle, the capsule, the branded routine, the monthly refill, the expert-approved shelf. And there's nothing wrong with good products. But here's the thing. A serum gives you a purchase. A plant gives you a source. Centella is not just another ingredient. It represents a different category of plant. Not just decorative, but functional. Something you can grow, harvest, learn from, and share. K-Beauty made Cica famous. Modern science helped explain why people cared about it. But the plant was already there, and you don't need a backyard to begin. A patio, a balcony, a windowsill, a raised bed, or even an indoor winter pot is enough to start shifting from buying every solution to growing part of the source yourself. Would you grow Centella for tea, skincare, or just as a medicinal herb? Comment below, and subscribe if you want to turn your backyard, patio, or kitchen window into a living medicine cabinet.